Water quality is an important aspect of public health and one which is vital to the ongoing welfare of the islands, according to Falkland Islands government. But after the Environment Department's most recent biannual water test report, the issue of water contamination has been highlighted again. According to the report, at some sites along Stanley Harbour, levels of water contamination have exceeded safe limits set by the World Health Organization and the European Union's Blue Flag programme.
What we found is that two of those sites, which are the two closest to town, that's the monument here on sort of the western end of Stanley in the southwest part, and then also in Stanley East, that the levels are above what we'd expect for a World Health Organization standard for safe swimming. So we test levels of E. coli, so bacteria, and also for enterococci as kind of an indicator for whether there might be sewage contamination. At the other four sites that we test, levels have consistently been low, so that indicates that the scale of the impact is mainly limited to the southern parts of the Stanley Harbour, but we kind of extend our recommendation to the whole area because it's kind of an enclosed body of water.
The cause of the contamination is mainly due to the effluents or wastewater that is released into the harbour. Certain bacteria present in sewage, such as E. coli and enterococci, can be harmful to human health if ingested at high concentrations, and is the reason why the general public is discouraged from using the water for recreational purposes. But what did the public have to say about the issue? Recent water testing has shown that levels of contamination at some points in this harbour exceed guidelines set by the World Health Organization. Does this concern you in any way?
Well, I wasn't aware of that, and I probably would like to have a look at the evidence for that, really, before I commented. But yes, it would concern me if they were high.
I'd be concerned, not just for me, it's for everybody and for the environment. I'm just worried about the fish and some animals and some species that might affect and the contamination of the water.
You don't like to hear that the water quality is unsafe, but I'm sure it's being dealt with.
Myself, I didn't know that water is contaminated. So as they are saying, it's contaminated, so it's a concern to ours to ask the public.
We know Stanley Harbour for a long time has had problems with contamination and pollution. It's very important not to go swimming and to ingest the water. Eating fish or shellfish from that area is not advisable when the levels have been as high as they've been, when we've detected levels really quite high at a couple of times of the year. So I think the take-home message is avoid it. Don't go in the water and don't eat anything that comes out of the water. If your children or your animals get in the water, make sure they are washed, hand washing, and wash your hands thoroughly before you eat anything if you've been near the shore.
But this is not the first time that the issue has been highlighted. There have been several biannual reports conducted by the Environment Department since May 2020, and while there has been some improvement over the years, there still remain infrastructural challenges that inhibit the management of waste.
We're currently in the process of redesigning the pump stations, or a majority of the pump stations, and that work hopefully will commence towards the beginning of next year, with the first one of those pump stations being upgraded. It's an ageing system, some of it's in excess of 100 years old in some places, and it's a combined system at the moment, which means that the surface water and the foul water all combine in one system. So when we get high rainfall or flash flooding from rain, etc., that gets into the system and sometimes inundates the pump stations, and they can't cope with the flow. The pump stations along the seafront need some upgrade and repair as well, and we've historically we've had some issues with the pumps, all of which are operational at the moment, have been rectified, but it's an ongoing issue that we're trying to improve upon.
As was highlighted in the most recent Environment Committee, there is still more work to be done on the issue of water quality in the Falklands. And although regular water testing does provide valuable insight, without any substantial follow-up action, it is unlikely that the situation will change anytime soon.